Hello, and thanks for joining us. This is the Signature Show, and I'm Vin Martin Obiora Ilo. Today on our show, we'll be focusing on this culture of abandoning projects across the country and what the citizens and civil society should do to hold not only the government accountable, but even the contractors whose job it is to complete these projects. Also on the program today, we'll be bringing you the view of Nigerians on this proposal by the federal government on how to check the tension between farmers and herdsmen by establishing what they have called cattle colonies. But we'll take our usual break and go to that segment where we watch activities online, our online watch. Today, we're bringing you something a neighboring country is doing to check the excesses of herdsmen in their country. Well, the decision they have taken or the measures they have taken may not be recommended for Nigeria, but it goes to show that every government must take a stand and take a position and do something drastic and effective to ensure that the relationship between herders and the farmers are on a good stead. We'll take a break. When we return, our program will continue.
About 200 police and military personnel were deployed at Agogo yesterday to enforce a court ruling which ordered for the evacuation of cattle from Agogo. And the Agogo Divisional Police Commander who led the charge did not mince words, urging his men to be ruthless.
Are the Fulanis better than us? No, sir. Can they shoot better than us? No, sir. Can they do the military and police job more than us? No, sir. They say they are guerrilla tactics, they are guerrilla fighters, and they are going to ambush you and shoot you. Please, I beg you in the name of God, nobody should die in the bush as a police or soldier or whatever. We are going back with our number and come back with our number. And to be safe, if you see anybody holding arms want to attempt you, please don't waste time.
The Operation Cow-led team is expected to have so far shot and killed over 100 cows in the area. One of the cattle owners at Agogo, Alhaji Adam Ahmed Madi, says most of his colleagues are ready to comply with the evacuation directives.
They kill about almost 79 of my animals. Now the remaining ones with the babies are the ones we are appealing to them. They should just give us, even if it's 2 days, 3 days, to move them from Agogo land. This is all what we are trying, begging the MP.
He also pleaded with the security personnel to revise their decision to shoot and kill their cattle.
People's cows they killed yesterday is over 200 and something. They killed them. And then those people are Ghanaian citizens based here in Agogo.
There has been a standoff between farmers and nomadic herdsmen at Agogo over the destruction of farms by cattle over the past 25 years. A Kumasi High Court in 2012 ordered the evacuation of the animals from the area, but the herdsmen did not comply with the directives.
Welcome back. Before we bring you our discussion with a panel on abandonment of projects in Nigeria, let's take this special report that focuses on a road, Oji Achi Obago Mako Ogwu Ndabo Mpu Road in Enugu State, which was awarded in 2009, and 9 years after, nothing significant has been done on that road.
Roads have become the backbone of Nigeria's transportation system since the failure of the rail system initially constructed by the colonial and post-colonial administrations in Nigeria. Over the years, governments in Nigeria have expended trillions of naira on road construction, rehabilitation and maintenance, yet most of the roads had either failed, been abandoned, badly constructed, or not constructed at all. Interests such as avarice, ethnicity, political affinity, religion, and corruption, experts say, encourage this obnoxious culture. It is heartbreaking to know that sizable numbers of road projects were brazenly abandoned or not funded after contract formalities had been completed, a development that is contributing to the high rate of accidents, highway robbery, and kidnapping in the country. The worrisome dimension to this horrible culture is a seeming scenario where civil servants and public office holders are said to connive with contractors to defraud the country under the guise of differential or review of contracts. A case in point is the rehabilitation of the Oji Achi Obago Mako Wumpu and Okbanko Road in Enugu and Ebonyi states, southeast Nigeria. A 48-kilometer road was divided into two unequal parts and awarded to two different contractors, Master Holdings Nigeria Limited and Cetraco Nigeria Limited, and tagged sections 1 and 2. Worrisome is the fact that the ministry awarded a 14-kilometer road to Cetraco Nigeria Limited at a sum of over 9.5 billion naira in August 2010, while Master Holdings Nigeria Limited's portion of the road, covering 34 kilometers, was awarded at a cost of 4.8 billion naira after review. Since 2009 that the contract was awarded, no significant work has been done on the road, a situation that worries indigenous of the area where the project covers.
In the rainy season, no one can be able to pass through this road because of bad condition of the road. Even now, as we are going through it, we are facing difficult things upon the line. Two, as it is now, two cars can never pass through the road. So that is what the problem that we are having here.
You are seeing how the road be. Started from Oji River to Achi to Ogun and the Mako. This is a serious road to loss. It's about how many years ago nobody's care about the road. But we are asking government to help us because the road is stopping us. We are drivers, machine okadas, lidars. We see many problems on the road. You drive, you get stuck because the road is not good. We are approaching them to help us, not we are doing it by force because we cannot able to do it by ourselves. When they do the load, poor man will gain, big men will gain also.
Respondents who also spoke off camera criticized the seeming preference according to some projects in terms of funding. They decried a situation where some contractors were given outrageous contract sums and prompt releases, while others were barely mobilized to execute their own projects. For instance, while the Section 1 in the Oji Achi Obago Mako Ogwo Ndabompu Okbanko Road was starved of funds, the Section 2 of the same road stretching from Ndabo Mpu to Okbanko, covering 14 kilometers, was given preferential treatment in budgetary allocation and releases will lead to its early completion.
On the issue of payment, we have delays in payment of certificates. Some certificates stay up to 2 years before it is paid to us. Even the last certificate took over 8 months before it was paid to us. And such things affected us badly because as an ingenious contractor, we deal with the banks a lot, and banks don't take issues of that kindly.
It is also pertinent to know that before the Federal Ministry of Power Works and Housing came in to rehabilitate the road, the Federal Road Maintenance Agency FEMA had awarded a contract for the maintenance of the said road to a local contractor, Jukok International Limited, at a sum of over 215.5 million naira. With all these controversies over how much is paid to the contractor, percentage of work done, capacity to deliver, and cost variations, supposed beneficiaries of the project are concerned about the way forward.
There was this issue on rates, which the present regime in Federal Ministry of Works, they are doing very well on that. They have moved into reviewing the rates for our jobs. And I think it's still in the office there, in the due process office for approval. Once that rate is approved, automatically within the next 1 year, we'll be getting to the end of the project.
It is these seeming inconsistencies that led a civil rights group, Say No Campaign Nigeria, to wade into the matter and is interrogating what they refer to as confusion in the entire process of procurement and funding of the road project.
You are still watching the Signature Show with Vin Martin, Jude Ilo. Well, you saw our report about this, if you permit me, controversial road. The road they call the Oji Achi Obagumako Ogu Mpu Okpanko Road, awarded by the Federal Ministry of Works. Well, I have some gentlemen in the studio to discuss this issue. First of all, like you already know, it was the Say No campaign that had asked for information about this road from the Federal Ministry of Works and CETRACO. So I have the co-convener of Say No campaign, Nigeria, Ezenwa Nwagwu. Ezenwa, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. It's nice being here.
Between me and Ezenwa, I have Anselm Okolo. Anselm Okolo is the Secretary PRO of Mako New Ages. And it might interest you that the bulk of the road that had not been attended to in any way covers Mako. And Anselm Okolo is here. Anselm, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
We also have the Country Officer and Head of Nigeria Office of Osiwa, Jude Udo Ilo. Mr. Ilo, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, let me start with you, Anselm. As they say, he who wears the shoe knows where it pinches. This whole thing has left your community and other communities, the Achi, Obago, Mako, and that part of Ogu suffering since this contract was awarded. What have your community done to ensure that this road gets the attention that it was intended to get?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would like to begin by saying that the people of Mako are pained to their marrows that this road is still undone as we speak. We have, as a community, reached out to the various cadre of government. We have asked questions, we have consulted, we have interacted, and we have offered ourselves and some of the contacts we have as support to our representatives in government to see that this road is touched. Because we're talking about a road that was last done by the Jim Nwobodo administration when he was governor of Unified
the old
Anambra State. That would give you an idea of time that we're talking about. This belt of communities will lie in an area that is blessed in terms of topography, but it provides us with certain challenges. We need road to be able to move. We live in the mountains. We're in the mountain, and so if you are saddled with real roads not done, you have this added difficulty of moving around. Our people are purely agrarian people, and if you don't have roads, your farm produce cannot be moved around. Mako, if in case you do not, I would like to inform everybody listening to us that Mako is famous for vegetable production, which is called Ogu Angara. And for some time, our market is that business has suffered because people who come from far away cross river Anambra, even Benue State, find it difficult to assess Nwagwu to be able to have.
Anyway, we'll go to the challenges the community is having because this road has not been done. But let me go to the man that decided to bail the cat, because we've all been sitting in silence and not saying anything about the famous Oji River, Achi, Obago, Ogu, Maku Road, until the Say No campaign had to get kicking. Mr. Nwagwu, what informed Say No campaign to demand information on that road?
Well, I think the big challenge really in terms of governance in our country has been the absence of citizen oversight. We sort of have abandoned our own responsibility as citizens to institutions of government that are in themselves really have shown lack of respect for the wishes and aspirations of the people that they govern. So when we began to follow some of these issues, not just the Enugu road, there are other roads as well, but this popped up more stronger because of the level of really inconsistency, if you like, impunity. If you trace the award from when it was from FEMA down to Setraco and the play within the Federal Ministry of Works, there's something that is unholy, that is unwholesome really. And Say No campaign decided to burrow into this. And what we are getting is, as we ask more questions, the confusion gets
more confused,
more intense and deliberate. That's the funny part. You see, when you study the issue of that road, you will find out that there's a deliberate ploy to confuse citizens. The letters are coming, but they are saying nothing. If anything, they are reinforcing the need for those who have responsibility, especially the anti-corruption agencies, to investigate what has happened on the road.
Okay, Mr. Ilo, your organization has also, developed some interest in the intrigues concerning this road. And let's look at some of the documents. This road was initially awarded by FEMA to a local contractor called Jukok Nigeria. As he was deploying to site, the Federal Ministry of Works now said, leave the site. We are awarding, instead of maintenance, we want to award rehabilitation. And that contract was awarded to Jukok for 250 million. And then this contract now goes to Setraco for 9 billion plus. Again, the same road was now divided into two. Setraco was doing 14 kilometers. A local contractor was engaged to do 34 kilometers. Setraco got 9 billion to do their job. Then the local contractor gets 3.2 to do 34 kilometers, while Setraco got over 9 billion to do 14 kilometers. What do you see in situations like this? And almost 2009 to 2018 is not completed.
I mean, let's humanize these numbers. Number one is that I'm from Machi. So this is not Osiwa for me. This is about being a Nigerian and being entitled to what a Nigerian should have. You see, we talk about this road like, it's something in the past. But let me bring this home for you. My uncle, Isaac Madaba, died after a long period of illness. His son, Onyebuchi Madaba, who is actually the strength and the financial foundation of that family, came home to supervise a building he's doing in the local government in Oji River. And on a bike coming back from that site, because of the quality of that road, he had an accident and he died on the spot. So I'm sitting here, I'm realizing that my cousin is yet to even get his funeral rights because people are in pain about his death. And I'm hearing these numbers and I'm furious because people in government have decided to manage this government like it's their personal property, like they don't have a conscience, like they don't have human empathy. This is a road that has been in disrepair for decades. When I was in secondary school, that road was bad. When I was in primary school, it takes us less than 45 minutes to go from Achi to Enugu. Now it takes you up to 2 hours. And FEMA, we know in all its imperfection, FEMA is a very effective agency when it comes to road maintenance. They go into sites for about 250 something million. They are chased out, and people are giving out 8 billion for a road that if we go back to that road to do a proper cost analysis, may be costing less. And so for me, this is a clear example of irresponsibility in governance. This is a clear example of fraud and stealing. And we need government to justify to us why you are spending 8 billion on a stretch of road, 14 kilometers, and you are spending 3 billion on 34 kilometers. So, I mean, we don't even need an expert to tell us that something fishy is going on here. And my point is, the people of Achi, the people of Oji River, deserve an explanation from our representatives, from this government, to tell us why this kind of monumental fraud can be happening and nobody's saying nothing. The Ministry of Works needs to explain it. I'm happy Fashola is now the minister. He needs to let us understand that nobody in his cabinet, in his close group, is involved in this mess. And good enough, EFCC is watching, ICPC is watching. I am going to stake everything I have to make sure that people who killed my cousin are brought to justice. Because if they have done this road, perhaps we won't be talking about this tragedy.
Okay, let's come back to you, Okolo. As a community, you said you engaged Master Holdings. Yeah. Did you engage Cetraco? And have communities along this stretch of road, have you come together somehow to talk to the representatives? At least they are supposed to be the eyes and ears about this challenge and seeming abandonment of this road.
Well, for us as a community, yes, we have. But as a cluster of communities, no, we have not. But I am aware that some efforts in that direction was initiated. But how that suffered setbacks, I'm not in a position to really talk about that. However, I can tell you, the much I can say, is that from our interaction, what we are hearing is slightly different from these various players in the process. For instance, we met with Master Holding, and he is saying that he is unable to continue with the contract because the rate at which the contract was awarded to his company
in 2009
is no longer reasonable for him to carry on with the contract today. However, the question needs to be asked, why did it take him this long to be fully execute the contract? However, for us, our interest is we wanted to find out what were his problems. And we could see that the man did not have the capacity to execute that contract. He didn't have the equipment. He didn't have, to the best of our understanding, the temperament to fully execute that contract. And that was why when we met with Senator Ike Ekweremadu on this matter, our position is that that man should be taken out of that contract.
Did anybody explain to you why they needed to share the contract? You know, so we are looking at a contract of 34 plus 14 gives me about 48 kilometers, which is gulping 4.2 plus 8. Let me be sure of the figure. Yes, what Cetraco got eventually was 8,099,226,000. So if you add the two, that's 13 billion for a road of 48 kilometers. Did anybody explain to you why? No. Did anybody explain to you why they had to split the job between two contractors?
Our understanding on that contract, I'm learning on this show that the contract is one contract. Our understanding was that there are two different distinct contracts.
No, that's
Oji Obu, which they called Oji Obu 1, is different from Oji Obu 2. Oji Obu 1, which is the one that runs, across my community, was awarded in 2009 to Master Holding. That's our own understanding. And that they chose to award Oji Obu 2 to Setraco. I want to, maybe it's because of the incompetence the man has demonstrated on Oji Obu 1. That, because I really would not, if I'm the awarding authority, award Oji Obu 2 to him when he has done very steady work on Oji Obu 1.
I think we need to, for us, the big interest here is how do we inspire citizens within the environment, the people who suffer what these challenges throw up. How are we going to inspire them to begin to take action? That is of very keen importance to us. Let me just tell you something. And you were talking about, you asked the question, did you meet your representatives and all of that? Some time ago, Say No campaign petitioned. We sent a petition to the Public Petition Committee of the House of Representatives on the scandalous CBN employment that happened. And we were there. And one of them called me and said, your petition is dead on arrival. And I said, why? He said, because we benefited from the jobs you are fighting. Now, what does that mean? What does that say to you? In terms of the impunity that is going on, we are playing with figures. Those who play with when I use the word deliberate, I used it conscientiously, knowing clearly that all of this rewarding, whether you call it rehabilitation, what did they say, maintenance, all of this play of words is deliberate. And I think that what we need to do is to get citizens from that place, get other stakeholders, to get the anti-corruption agencies, to call out Master Holdings, call out Setraco. They can't be talking.
Call out Federal Ministry of Works.
Bring everybody together and say you cannot, in good conscience, be playing with 34 billion.
No, 12 billion.
Let's say 12 billion of the resources of the people as we speak. Udo is saying that road is still in bad shape.
No, it's a bad shape.
That's what I'm saying. So viewers are looking at the so somebody has taken 8 billion already. Whether it is to the stretch of 2 or 1, 8 billion is in somebody's pocket. And the people who reside in that environment have no experience of plying a good road. So the essence of this conversation is for us in Say No, is to say, look, the time for anti-corruption agencies to wait for petitions is over. These documents are already in public. We've put it out there. And our work is to put it out. Having put it out, we are waiting to see that people, because if you go to Master Holdings, they will give you their version. If you go to Setraco, they may not even speak to you. If you go to Federal Ministry of Mr. Fashola has responsibility at this point in time.
And that was quite interesting to us.
He should tell the FCC that. He shouldn't be telling you.
He was saying that for him to continue on that contract, the rates for which that contract was awarded to him must be reviewed. And we as a community felt, look, what's our interest? We want our roads to be done. And what did we do? We approached the man representatives in the House of Representatives, who interestingly is the chairman of the Committee on Works. Right?
And what did he say?
And we told him, I said, he said yes, that the man has made a representation to that effect, and that hopefully it will be done. And I stand on the authority of what he told us, to say that review had been done. So why is Master Holding not fully back on site?
Well, the information we have, our reporters have, is that monies have not been released to Master Holdings. As we speak, the variation cost and all that is with Due Process Office in Abuja.
I think Master Holdings should go and be chasing his money. If he has issues, it's not our problem. As
no, for us as the people of Nwagwu, we are saying Master Holdings should be taking off that project. Because the man does not have the capacity to do it.
For me, it's not just about, because we can isolate Master Holding and say, oh, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. there is a clear track of inconsistency, and in the face of it, clear suspicion of fraud in this project. The discrepancy in 14 kilometers for
3.2 billion.
14 kilometers for 8 point something billion.
Yes.
34 kilometers for 3 point something billion. That tells you that something is really, really wrong here. Something fishy is going on here. And I am still not convinced that the 251 million that FEMA, 15 million that FEMA wanted to use to maintain that road, I'm still not convinced that that money wasn't enough to fix that road. So for me, beyond the master holding cries, beyond the certificate of completion given to Setraco, the anti-corruption agencies should go in there, assess that road, and tell us what is the true value of that road. Because it is one thing to use my name to steal money and not even deliver on the job. That is unacceptable.
Okay, gentlemen, let's look at some of the inconsistencies that are in this project. This project, according to Federal Ministry of Works, moves from Oji, Achi, Obago, Mako, Ogu, Ndabo, Mpu, Okpanko. That is the one they've called 2. And the one also goes, the one that was given to Master Holdings also stretches to the point of Ndabo, which is what you see in the 2 are different spellings of the town, of the name of the town. So is it possible that Ndabo was included? Because as we speak, the Ndabo road is done. As we speak, the Ndabo road is done. Is it possible that the road, the contract given to A covered Ndabo, the contract given to B covers Ndabo?
That's interesting to hear here.
See, where you are,
like I told you earlier, our understanding was that Oji 1 runs from Oji and terminates at Ogu. And that's the one where my community, lies under. And sincerely for me, Oji 2 is done, completed. Of course, I would always say, well, thank God that is done. I'm interested in the aspect that concerns Mako.
Okay,
for 70 kilometers of road, the portion that is now untouched by master holding lies within the Mako.
Okay, gentlemen, because Seno is in touch with the Federal Ministry of Works.
We've
yes,
we've clearly written again. We've sent another letter asking for these discrepancies to be cleared.
Okay,
let's hope they are able to
ask you, Ezenwa, does it mean that FEMA operates independent of the Federal Ministry of Works? What I'm saying is, FEMA, in their wisdom, sees that this road needs maintenance. Of course, it's the same budget. FEMA's budget goes through the Federal Ministry of Works, I guess. Okay?
Well, FEMA is an agency.
Okay, well, it's an agency. Okay, so
It's under Minister of
Works. It's under Minister of Works. So they put this in the budget. Money is allocated for it, and then the federal government that has 1 million roads to worry about is still interested in that same road that there was already 215 million and the contractor deployed to the site. What does that tell?
The FOI we did is predicated on some of these issues that you are raising. Why? Why will you ask FEMA to get out for something they awarded for 215 million maintenance? You cleared them out of the place and awarded it for 9 billion and reframed it to be rehabilitation. That's play. So the truth of the matter is that when this is out, and we're going to follow up all of this, when that letter comes, whether it comes or not, really, we're already going to be petitioning the EFCC, and we're following up with a press conference. It is to call everyone who is involved in this out. You can't justify, we can't continue to justify the kind of things we see in our country. You see, until citizens, and that is where we are interested in, until citizens, the people of Oji, the people of Mako, all of these people must form some kind of coalition to begin to say, look, we can't continue to, our money is in somebody's pocket. That's the 8 billion is already creamed away. And somebody is cooling happily, and accidents are happening. Your produce cannot come to town, and these are perishables. If they can't come out, then they have no value to anybody. So really, for us is to inspire citizen engagement with these issues. Not just for the people of Enugu. Every other community that suffers this kind of thing needs to interrogate the budget and begin to call attention. Because once citizens are calm, you are happy. If say no didn't bring this out, I'm not sure Signature will be interested in wanting to know, even finding out now, having more information that we have. What triggered it was that we saw this inconsistency.
This lacuna.
We saw this lacuna and we wanted explanation. Okay. And we don't think that it is the responsibility of Federal Minister of Works to be explaining. It is the EFCC. It is the ICPC or whoever, any of those agencies that have responsibility to say, hey guys, this inconsistency is loud. It's too loud.
But is it not also proper for say no with the information you have to write to the EFCC?
No, I've just said that now that we wanted to. There's a process.
Okay.
We did an FOI. What is the FOI? The FOI is that we have seen this. Can you provide explanation? And my opener was that the explanations deepen the confusion. Okay. So we are now going to go to the EFCC and say, look, we followed due process. We did an FOI. These are their responses. We attached their own documents and pass it to them.
Okay, we'll take a break. You know that in the past 2 weeks, couple of weeks, almost all through last year, we've battled with this killer herdsmen. And that has thrown up another controversy. Should there be ranches for the herdsmen? Or should there be colonies for the herdsmen? We understand that 10,000 acres or so is being thought about by the federal government for acres in almost every state in Nigeria. And some people are saying that this is new colonization. But we didn't want to bother with that. We went on the streets to ask Nigerians what they think about the herdsmen colonies.
If you look at certain countries, cattle colonies, exist. Whereas in other country, cattle ranches or things, it depends on the facilities and the resources available. Different part of the country under consideration. So I think the two of them should be married together, so that there is going to be an harmonious relationship, as regards herdsmen and sedentary farmers.
I don't think the cattle colony will solve the issue, because cattle colony is like forcing people on people. I don't think it will solve the issue. The issue is for the government and the leadership to be truthful and honest to us.
Considering the recent attacks, by herdsmen or proposed attacks, we've been hearing of attacks here and there. I think it's a welcome development for the government to map out a particular place for them, which of course they tagged the cattle colony. But then we also have to look at the implications, because one of the implications now is which state is ready to actually bring out such land for such. So I think it's something that I think they have to go back to the drawing board, look at it critically, and now fine-tune, because we're looking at a lasting solution.
I see it as a calculated attempt to help one set or one ethnic group as far as this country is concerned. If you talk of cattle colony, you can see, for example, the governor of Benue State doesn't even understand what cattle colony is all about. He was asking for he insisted that the government should explain more what they mean by cattle colony. What now happened? Days after the government had made that proposition, what happened? The Association of Pig Owners or whatever came up and also said they also want a colony for the pig. And before you know it, my brothers in Onitsha market also said they also want colony.
The idea of cattle colony is a very welcome development, but there are two ways about it.
If they have a place they can rear their cattle, they will not have any need to enter into the farms to destroy farmers' crops and other things.
Ilo, let me. Are you worried by these seeming inconsistencies? Are you worried that this may not be just happening on the Oji, Achi, Mako, Owu road? That this could also be happening all over the country?
I mean, yes, I am, because what you see here is a contrived incompetence. I call it a contrived incompetence, is that people, you know, oh, they don't know what they're doing, they don't understand the process, and in that confusion, we're being robbed silly. So, and I think this is just an example of the pattern of inconsistency, a pattern of absence of transparency, or fraud across the country when it comes to road constructions and the execution of any project for that matter. So I don't think this is isolated. I think my hope is that the attention that is being generated around this mess will also help our anti-corruption agencies and communities across the country to take a closer look at what is happening, you know, at their backyard. Because when we begin to think of the opportunity cost, if you look at the stretch of road we're talking about, there is hardly any primary school on that stretch of road that is properly rehabilitated. This stretch of road we're talking about, there is no functional hospital in this 34-kilometer stretch of road. So you can imagine what this 12 billion could have done for these communities if one part of it was used to build the road and the other part used to rehabilitate hospitals, rehabilitate primary schools and secondary schools. So it is a country where we sit down and consume our common patrimony. We consume the resources that can help us build an energized youth population. And it pains me really that we have representatives, we have government officials, we have elites in these communities, and people are keeping quiet. And we laugh this off, oh, it's politicians, they're just doing their thing. But the cost, the destruction that is being wrought in this community, the fact that we're not giving our kids a fighting chance in these communities, it pains me sadly. And my wish is that this is not just, you know, an isolated inquiry, an isolated campaign, that we can use this to bring attention to what is happening across the country.
Okay, Ezenwa, I'll come to you. What remediation processes are available to the communities? And I'm asking because Okolo has talked about meeting the contractors, meeting the representatives. You've also given us a classic example of meeting representatives and being thrown it on your face that, look, do you think we can function? Because we also benefited. So what else can the people do, can the citizens do to get a contract like this completed?
First is that they need to understand the issues in very clear terms and get into the kind of scenario that Jude is painting. What does it mean for you as a community? If you understand what it means for you as a community, then you are able to mobilize yourself. And then many times we look for, they say constituency engagement. You want, everyone has to have a constituency office, we are told. Many times those constituency offices don't function. Many times we expect that our representatives will hold town hall meetings. We want them to be the one organizing those town halls. We can organize a town hall and invite him. Yes. That's where it starts. Organize a town hall and say, hey guy, you represent us. Are you aware of this? What have you done? You first start from there, holding the very direct representatives accountable. There is somebody in the House of Assembly representing that area, the cluster of those roads. When are you going to have a town hall? Don't wait for him to organize one. He may never organize one. We've been pushing that communities should begin to hold town hall meetings and invite, because they say, oh, if we invite, they ask us for this, they ask us for that. So keep all that out. That's number one. Number two, we need to have them join voices with us as well. As these press conferences go on from Say No campaign, somebody will say we are meddlesome interlopers. That, you know, so if they joined voices with us, the communities join voices with us in the press conference, telling the world that, look, showing clearly, just like the way you have shown, this is the areas that have been done. This is the area that has not been done. Whether it's called maintenance, whether it's called rehabilitation, where section 1, section 2, we are the ones who suffer the consequences of filtering away the resources of our people. Once that is on, you are building citizen confidence in both the government. In doing that, they are also participating. So all of what we're doing is how do we get citizens to participate? That's all this all about. You must come to that point where this guy doesn't just stay in Abuja and claim he represents you. The other one doesn't go to Enugu and claim he represents you. You must have a way in which they don't just explain it away. Don't let them create town halls in their own image. That's what happens. They call a town hall, people it with their kind of people,
and do public
and give an instruction. What they come to do is instruction, not a meeting. In many places, you hold an instruction class. This is what has happened. This is what has, and everybody says, no, this time around, we will make these documents available, circulate them to community. They interrogate it themselves. They are able to see the inconsistencies. And then you can then force this man to say, what have you done? It's not, don't come and tell us you are chairman of works committee. It will be done. What have you done in clear terms? Show us correspondences that between you and not verbal and the authorities. We want to see it. Put it out there. Once you are able to do that, then you will see that both citizen groups and CSOs working to enthrone transparency will be seen to be working together, and that's what is important.
Okay, Anselm, let me give you the last word.
Okay, but
this is like education.
Yes, I would like to speak to a little bit to the benefits of what he's talking about.
Okay,
like I said earlier, we don't want Master Holding there because he is incompetent to do the road. The aspect of that road is the most difficult part of that contract. The terrain in the Mako is very, very rough. You know that. You need a strong contractor with equipment to be able to do that part.
Which begs the question why they allocated him a smaller amount of money.
Well, that aspect is something I think people need to,
further interrogate.
Everybody involved need to further sit down, talk about and really understand.
Okay, since they had a section 1 and a section 2 on that road, this is part 1 of our focus on that road. We are not giving up because, like the Osiwa head in Nigeria said, and as those that are Christians say, they say this is the point of contact. So maybe with this particular road, we can reach out to other problematic contracts, not just roads in Nigeria, where figures are bandied and no work is done. Gentlemen, I must thank you for coming on the Signature Show. Thanks for watching. We'll take our break, and when we return, I will share my thoughts with you. It is time to share my thoughts with you, and I'm taking my thoughts from something Michelle Obama, wife of former President of America, Obama, said about a year ago about President Donald Trump. You know that just yesterday, the 20th of January, was 1 year of President Donald Trump as President of the United States. When Michelle said this about a year ago, maybe not many people took her seriously, but today it sounds like a prophecy.
The presidency doesn't change who you are, it reveals who you are. And the same thing is true of a presidential campaign. So if a candidate is erratic and threatening, if a candidate traffics in prejudice, fears, and lies on the trail, if a candidate has no clear plans to implement their goals, if they disrespect their fellow citizens, including folks who make extraordinary sacrifices for our country, let me tell you, that is who they are. That is the kind of president they will be. Trust me, a candidate is not going to suddenly change once they get in office. Just the opposite, in fact, because the minute that individual takes that oath, they are under the hottest, harshest light there is. And there is no way to hide who they really are. And at that point, it's too late. They're the leader of the world's largest economy, the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military force on earth. With every word they utter, they can start wars, crash markets, change the course of this planet. So when it comes to the qualifications we should demand in a president, to start with, we need someone who is going to take this job seriously. Someone who will study and prepare so that they understand the issues better than anyone else on their team. And we need someone not with good judgment, but with superb judgment in their own right. We also need someone who is steady and measured. Because when you're making life or death, war or peace decisions, a president can't just pop off. Being president isn't anything like reality TV. It's not about sending insulting tweets or making fiery speeches. It's about whether or not the candidate can handle the awesome responsibility of leading this country.
Michelle Obama there, sounding like a prophet. And those were my thoughts for today, and bringing us to the end of our show. But don't forget that if you have missed anything on this show today, or if you've missed any of the editions of our show, you have an opportunity to watch it again and again by going to our online portal, our online TV, signaturetv.com.ng. And don't forget also that you can reach us on our social media platforms, as you are seeing them now on your screen. And I want to say thank you for watching, and let's do this again same time on Sunday at 2 p.m. Bye for now.